Rome fell, all that was left standing was the church. The church took 700 years to decide what to do in order to rebuild Western civilization. And what they decided became codified in the liberal arts: grammar, logic, rhetoric, arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music. Grammar is the willingness to look at things as they are. That would imply laws. When one approaches grammar, one cannot allow oneself to invent or prefer. You must honestly observe things as they are. Having done that, you move into logic. Logic is the questioning of those things that you see. Logic always allows for one more question. There is never an end to logic, but there is a time when the human spirit moves into its rhetoric. And in its rhetoric, it begins the process of teaching the next person about the truth as they have come to see it and understand it through grammar and logic.
My name is Walter Elder. I'm a senior here at Northfield, and this will be my 6th year at Northfield. My favorite thing about Northfield, or one of the coolest things about Northfield, are the 7 simple rules that we abide by here that keep us, restrained and keep us, everything moving the right way. The first one is respect and encourage, practice honesty, be on time, be modest, maintain clean and orderly lockers, comply immediately, and resolve disputes. Those 7 rules, we apply them to each part of our life here at Northfield, and that's what makes us run smoothly. They were created when the school was founded in 1993 by Bob Love, and he made these rules so that, and they were thought out very, very carefully, but he took them and made them in such a way that it would make a school run smoothly, and every conflict that was brought up in the school could be taken straight to these rules and say, okay, which one does it apply to, and how do we work it out? We don't have all these rules here at Northfield that we have to follow. We have 7 simple ones, but they apply to so many more things. This right here is my favorite part of Northfield, my favorite room at Northfield. And there are a couple reasons that this is my favorite space at Northfield. The first being the pictures that you see here in front of you. Each one of these pictures represents a different belief, a different viewpoint of the world. Right behind me, to my left, is the entrance to the school. So when people walk in, one of the first things they see are these pictures here hanging on the wall. And they see these pictures and they see different viewpoints, and in that they're seeing what we here at Northfield believe. We believe in finding and looking at each aspect of everything that we do and then having it all converge into truth. And then the second part of it is what's behind me is the kind of atrium to the school, which is kind of this whole area, but specifically behind me is kind of where students go back and forth between their lockers and the hallway back here. There's classrooms across the hall, but it's a bustle of energy in between classes. If you sat in a chair right here and you looked this direction for 5 minutes in between classes, you would hear discussions about the great books. You would hear discussions about trigonometry and algebra. You would hear discussions about Shakespeare. They're discussing what they've been talking about and discussing in classes, and it's all converging and being thrown around right here in this little entryway. And then they take all of those viewpoints that they just kind of threw together again, and they all go their separate ways with maybe, just a tiny bit more of enlightenment that they gained right here. And then they all go to their different classes, and then they, again participate in the great conversation in their classrooms.
One of the more important parts of Northfield is the great conversation. We are part of the continuing great conversation that spans time. The great conversation really has no point of beginning. And the only end that it will have is when the truth is fully and accurately known. And in between the beginning that we can't find and the end that we won't reach, we are obliged to talk to one another. We are obliged in humility to say what we think, to bring forward those things we see and those things we have thought and those things that we now believe.
My name is Rachel Garten. I am a senior at Northfield School of the Liberal Arts, and I've been going here for 5 years. This hallway is my favorite place at Northfield because I think it really represents the community that we have here. In this hallway, classes mix. In between classes, when the doors open, when the bell rings, and everybody just pours out in droves. And there's no division between the 8th and the 9th grades, and middle school, high school, girls, guys, they're all together. When you walk down the hallway when classes are going, you can hear bits and pieces of what's going on. You can hear the Pater Noster being said in Mr. Graff's class, along with, at the same time, Mrs. Engelman's explaining a geometry proof, while Mr. Coleman's talking about Dante, and I think that that's really cool. It definitely represents the community we have at Northfield and the variety of things that we teach, and it's just a great mixture of the subjects as well as the people that go here.
The curriculum approach at Northfield begins with the Greek and Jewish paradigm. The Greeks were people who asked, for the first time, metaphysical questions like, what good is it? Where did it come from? What will I do with it? And they forced themselves to dialogue together to come to conclusions. The Jews were people who saw things pictorially. They had festivals, they had ceremonies and sacraments. After the Greek and Jew paradigm, we study the Roman and the Christians. The Romans were builders. The Christians were builders. The Romans were building an empire. The Christians were building a kingdom. Following the Roman and Christian paradigm, we enter into the Middle Ages, or the medieval times, in which Rome has fallen, the church has stood, and the beginnings of Western civilization are firmly becoming defined. From the Middle Ages, we move to Europe, where the individual meets the state, where the confrontation between power and will happen. And that becomes the inheritance for the American experience, which is their final moment in a Northfield education. If a student can stay at Northfield through his senior year or his 12th grade year, he has the opportunity to explore again all these things that he has visited as a 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader in capstone classes, where teacher and student become peers, and the discussion is enlarged by the information accumulated in the previous years and re-examined from new perspectives as they talk to one another as equals.
My name is Dakota Harms. I've been going to Northfield for 5 years, and I am a senior. My favorite Northfield experience is a history trip that we took my junior year to the Prairie Grove Battleground in Arkansas. What we did there is we dressed up in authentic Civil War garments, we slept in tents, and when we got up, all the guys took part in drills and everything that goes along with being in the military during the Civil War.
Oh, so let me student coming up here.
So it was really cool in that we were studying the Civil War in history class, and then we got to experience it in real life, or as close to a real life experience as you'd want to get to the Civil War.
I'm Janae Zimmerman. I'm a senior here at Northfield, and I've been here for 6 years. My favorite place here at Northfield is this room, Convocation Hall. It's my favorite because of the art, music, and the conversation. Some of the art over there on the wall is the huge mural that was done during Midwinter Week 5 or 6 years ago. It was amazing. And then there's some art on the benches, and especially behind on the wall, the monks were painted, and the tissue paper murals that were done for the Christmas show. There's small examples of the art that happens here. The music that is heard up here is amazing. The orchestra, every couple of weeks or months or so, will come up here and show us what they've been working on. It's a great way to start the day, to have them play for you, or at any given point you could come up here and listen to someone play the piano or practice with their ensemble. So it's always, seemingly always filled with music. And conversation is a huge thing up here. During convocation, we'll have speakers, different speakers on every day of the week, and it's really great to hear the students conversing with each other about the subject matter, having the teachers add to it, and we're all on the same playing field. We're all on the same level as we display our ideas and our opinions about the subject matter, and our eyes are open to new ways of seeing or looking at things, different issues of history especially, and getting to know each other better.
My name is Jordan Entz. I'm a senior here at Northfield, and I've been here for 4 years. This place, Convocation Hall, is my favorite place at Northfield because of the opportunity provided for experts and students to educate the Northfield body here. Experts are invited in throughout the year. Mrs. Elder asks them whether it's a gentleman from a college playing the euphonium, or whether it's one of the students' grandfathers playing bagpipes here, who is a teacher in Wichita. There's always an expert that comes in. Every year there's experts that come in to teach the Northfield about a certain style of music, a certain instrument, a certain time period in music. And it's always very enlightening to see someone who is a master at the rhetoric of music stand up and educate the rest of the student body and inspire them to become masters as well. Students are given an opportunity to perform up here also, usually weekly on Mondays. Mrs. Elder invites soloists, ensembles, and even entire orchestras from the school to come up and play a musical piece that they've been working on. And it's always a great time to see fellow students, your own friends, playing a musical piece that they enjoy, at the same time educating you about the piece and about the composer. And sometimes it's just a heck of a fun time and you just get up and dance in front of Convocation spontaneously. It's so much fun to see people performing and dancing and having fun in middle of convocation.
I'm John Larson, and I'm a senior at Northfield. I've been here 5 years. My favorite Northfield experience would probably be being in the Christmas show this year. I mean, I'd seen the Christmas show the past 7 or 8 years, and I just couldn't wait until I could be in it and learn monologue and act. It was really great to perform, because I've been in plays before and I really like acting, and it was really great to perform and embody one of the arts. Drama is a really big artistic expression.
One of my favorite Northfield experiences, there are really way too many here to count, for the last 6 years, Christmas time, when Mrs. Elder puts all the poinsettias out in the hallway, and it just feels like Christmas. But it's not officially Christmas yet, and it's not break until Dig Welsbacher has come and read to us A Child's Christmas in Wales. But we all sit around him on the floor and listen as he artfully tells this story to us.
Get back to the presents. Well, there were useful presents. Engulfing mufflers of the old coach days, and mittens made for giant sloths. Zebra scarves of a substance like silky gum that could be tug-of-war down to the goulashes.
It was the only thing I could really give them was my enjoyment of this story, and I couldn't give them presents and I couldn't give them money, but at least I could share this story that I felt was so neat with them.
Go on to the useless presents. There were bags and bags of moist and many-colored jelly babies, and a folded flag, and a false nose, but once by mistake that no one could explain, a little hatchet.
It's just like hearing your grandpa tell a story.
Hey, I'm Erin. I've been here for 2 years, and I'm a senior. My first Northfield experience actually happened before I was part of Northfield. Rachel Garten brought me to a basketball game. It was really cool and kind of weird. I mean, I walked in, and obviously it was a warehouse building. Didn't seem like a school to me, but when I got in, everyone was like so nice, and they were all so proud of their boys playing basketball. Happy, and it was just a really great experience.
My first Northfield experience was in the summer of '04. My parents were checking out the school for my older sister, and I was with them that day. So we walked in the purple door downstairs that goes directly into the school. Ahead of me, I saw Jeff Snyder putting the fish tank together, and that was really cool. It was all in pieces on the floor, and he looked really hot and tired. It was summer. And it was just really, really cool to see a student taking time out of his summer to put together a fish tank that we might have just been able to have some company come in and put in for us. And it was just really cool to see him sacrifice part of his summer to add to the atmosphere of the school.
My name is BJ. I'm a senior here at Northfield, and I've been here for 2 years. My favorite Northfield experience, I'm not sure. That's a really hard question. There's literally hundreds of memories that I really enjoyed from Northfield, but I would have to go with times where we go as a group to sing at places locally like the YMCA or Barnes & Nobles, and then all the way to awesome places like Williamsburg, Virginia, or Minnesota, our dedication to music makes us stand out among all the other schools.
One of the other things that's really awesome about Northfield is our Work Wednesdays. Work Wednesdays are basically a time when Northfield students go out in the community and we do all kinds of work for different organizations. We've gone to Habitat for Humanity, where we've helped build houses for people who are trying to get back on their feet after tough economic times or whatever it may be. We've gone to His Helping Hands and helped them sort clothes, sort food, sort everything. We've gone to World Impact down the road, and I went there and helped them clean out an old apartment. I mean, I could go on and on and on about what we've done. When I was writing my college application, I was putting down, they had this section for community service, and I wrote like 3 pages on what I've done in the last 6 years here at Northfield, because we do so much community service outside of this place. And so I love that we take an entire day off once every single week and we go out into our community and make sure that we're impacting our place.
In order to make an important contrast about Northfield with other schools, it would be good to speak about the liberal arts versus the illiberal arts. The illiberal arts are those arts which serve the liberal arts. The liberal arts make men free to think for themselves, and the illiberal arts are the arts with which man must necessarily earn his livelihood. But as he works with his hands, his mind is free to think about all things from every direction. Strong meat belongs to those who by reason of exercise have become able to discern good from evil.